Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm having the founder of the program, Rock of Hope. Sir, I would like you to introduce yourself to the people who might not know you and might not know this organization that you are running.
Hi everybody, yes, I'm Wouter Prozesky, and together with my wife 12 and a half years ago, we started this organization. And we started after receiving a prophecy in church where the prophet told my wife, I see you in a minivan full of children. It's not your own children, but you will love them as your own, and I, the Holy One, will provide. And then we reported, and on the 23rd of April 2011, we received our first baby.
Yes, that's like so profound. And you've been telling me about some of the pictures here. As you guys see, these are the children that so has like held and like that were thrown by their previous mothers and fathers. So these are the photos of them, as you can see on this wall. So say like, what's the procedure like when people come to bring their children here? What are the steps? What do they do?
Well, then the only way they can bring them here is by putting them in the baby saver. Normally, they get brought to us by the social workers, or the hospitals calls us, and or the police will bring them.
Okay, that's very wonderful, sir. And like, what's the feeling when you go there? Like, for example, to say, okay, cool, there's a baby in that box. Like, what does happen to your mind? What do you feel like when you go to like go pick up a baby there?
It's always a thrill to have, and it's a bittersweet moment because you often get babies that has been malnourished or been abused, or that was lying for a few hours in a bag or something like that. So that's always that you're glad that you can get them and save them and then heal them before they get put to their forever families.
Yeah. And you said like one thing about a baby that like was her mother was committing suicide and like she was throwing herself in a railway station.
Yes.
And like she threw herself with the baby and like. Yes, how was that? How was that feeling? So when like witnessing such things, like people like.
The thing is, we've seen and heard everything, and every time we think there can't be something else or something worse, we get something like that has never happened, and that you can think that anybody can do to their children.
Like and the trauma, like the children do they act normal when like you are like nurturing for them? Like do you like feel the trauma in them? Like okay, cool. There's something like there's not like they feel like they are uncomfortable and stuff. Like how is the
They do act out, but we've got an amazing support system. So as soon as we see something that is not in the normal development or something, then we've got professionals that assist us.
Yeah, that's dope. So, and like how in like you care for them for how long? Like do there's an age limit or you just like care for them as long as you can?
Our organization's policy says that we don't take in babies over 12 months. They normally stay between 6 and 12 months, but we've had children that stayed for 26 months.
Okay, like there's no about like okay, there's a 10-year-old like that's still around here, like you're still caring for, like even if they pass that age, you like send them for adoption.
No, we try not to get them to go to children's homes, because our whole setup is a family setup. There's a mother and a father and brothers and sisters, so that they can feel loved and be part of a family. But the older kids that are here are either been adopted by ourselves or in foster care with us.
Okay, like how is it hard to like spot a family? Okay, cool. Like we say, this family is going to be perfect to raise this child, or like you be skeptical sometimes. I'm not sure, but then I'm like, oh, what are the procedures when you go into that process?
The social workers handle that part. They screen the prospective parents and they decide who's going to go where. They've got a what they call a matching meeting where they match prospective parents with the available babies, and they take things like skin color into consideration, and they often looks like the adoptive parents when they are matched together. So that's a good process. in all the years and 230 babies later, there's only been a few that we think that was not the right decision, but we got no input in that from our side.
Yeah, like I can imagine if like giving away a baby that you've been raising for a very young age is difficult. Like you seeing them from the first, their traumas, what they've gone through. So the process, okay, like you're giving them to another family. How's that? How's that feeling like?
That's a very bittersweet moment because it's difficult for us, and we often say that the moment we stop crying when we hand over a baby, we must stop doing what we're doing. Because then we didn't love them as our own. And and the joy of somebody that doesn't have a baby, and that they are, there's more joy in them than a mother giving birth, for instance. So that's why we always say it's a bittersweet moment to hand them over, because we know that they've got a permanent home now, and we must let go, and that makes space for a new one to come in.
Can you like give an explanation of some of the kids like in front of us right now for someone like Jay who's watching this interview right now?
Shakir, we've adopted him. He was born premature. He weighed 1.2 kilograms, and his mother dropped him off at the hospital when he was 3 months old, and he weighed 1.3 kilograms. So in the 3 months, he only gained 100 grams. And he came to us when he was 9 months old, and when he was 11 months old, they did they gave him pumpkin. It was pumpkin in the nappy. So they did a biopsy, and they perforated the intestines, and he got septicemia. He weighed, at that stage, he was 11 months old, and he weighed 5 kilograms.
That's cool, sir.
So they did a major operation to save him. And we prayed for a couple of hours at night while he was in theatre. And the next morning I went to the hospital, and I ran into the surgeon, and he said, if he survives the next 24 hours, he's going to be in ICU for at least 7 days. And I prayed for him there. And when my wife went the afternoon, he was not there in ICU. And when she asked around, they said, no, he moved to the general ward. He was so much better that he moved there. And ever since then, Shakir is living life flat out. He's to the fullest.
Big player, as I've seen today. And coming back to that prophecy you told me about that you had, and you were telling me behind the scenes about most of the stories of these children here, and most of them were supposed to be not living because these things they were facing are difficult. But through you, sir, it's because it was supposed to. Was supposed to be the one who was helping these children to keep them out of this trouble and help them to be better, because right now most of them in other instances they could not survive those cases, but you came through and because it's just you had to come in and intervene to save these children. So we come back to that prophecy you had, but now this thing you're doing, you're supposed to do it. You're not playing around. You were the one who's supposed to do this thing.
No, you can't do this without the Lord by your side, and because you don't choose it to not sleep at night. You don't choose to change. At this stage, we change about 70, 80 nappies a day. We make bottles, 130 bottles a day. I'll show you later how our fridge looks like, and so. That's not something you choose, and if you won't be able to do this if it's not your calling. It's not something you do to make money, because we're totally dependent on donations. We're entitled to funds from government, but out of the 230 children, we've received 4 of them, so we can't rely on that anyway. So we are totally reliant on donations and funding from companies or individuals.
But the government does not intervene in any way. What can you say to let me say a teenager right now who's facing challenges and is thinking of terminating the baby or throwing the baby, actually killing the baby? What can you tell them or an advice?
Well, in the end, it remains the person's personal decision. But seeing the joy when you hand over a baby to an adoptive family and to give that child a future, I would say that carry that baby to full term and give him or her an opportunity to become uh, a member of society that can make a difference. And being part of an adoptive family, they will usually rise out and above everything and make a huge success of themselves. Where if they are left in dire circumstances, they will not maybe finish school or go to school even. So that is a difficult part. But in the end, um, being a Christian, it's not part of our framework to let's think that abortion is the right thing. But in the end, it remains every individual's personal
The
decision.
decision. And some people like I salute these like mothers and parents that came in and like brought this child to you, because like that's a huge decision like to take. Okay, I'm not be able to support for this child, or I'm going through these troubles and stuff, so I need to give him to someone who can care for this child.
Yeah, I think that's a very emotional decision. If you're so down that you get to that point that you are willing to either put your baby in a baby saver or make a decision to put them in a dustbin or a bag. So I think that's a difficult decision. And I think those mothers must be commended to get that part. The bad side to it is in South Africa, there's no such thing as safe abandonment. So abandoning your child is a criminal offence. And I personally feel that is the wrong thing to be. I think there should be certain safe places like a home or police station or a hospital that I can go to and say, here's my baby, I can't take care of it. Then I can walk away. And
that's a good thing to do.
But now it's a criminal offence. So I think the law needs to be changed with that so that we can have a safe abandonment, that you can go and leave your child somewhere where you're not able to take care of them, and it can become part of the system and be absorbed in homes like ours or children's homes. So just to have them, to give them a chance.
Yeah, and like and looking at these angels, and like some of them will be proper like kings and queens of in the future, you know. Like
our next president could be.
Next president could be here. Like, and you say like this kid could be like died and like in the few years back, but like some of them are destined for greater things. So say we salute you for what you're doing. Like we're watching, you know, even though we're from different places, but we see your work, because like I'm from the Eastern Cape, but I saw what you were doing, and like this thing like inspired me to know, like, to meet you by like myself and say, yeah, no, I see what you're doing, and like this is very inspiring and motivating to us as young people to see like you doing such things for people like you don't even know, you know, like for myself, like I wouldn't like handle this pressure, but you say you go through every day like doing this thing like out of the goodness of your heart. So say like we see you and we appreciate what you're doing, sir.
No, thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
No problem, sir. No problem. So maybe we'll have a round two, maybe sometime when your wife is around, and like we can have a round table.
Yes.
You know, no problem. But we'll see in time, sir. We'll see in time.
No problem.
That was it for today, guys. Episode with Mr. of the Good of Great Hope, and check out this episode. Oh, this is a young one. This is a young one. You know, you see this thing. Yeah, you check out this thing on YouTube, Wisdom High Podcast. Go on. You're
It's just you.